Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And this video is kind of a follow-up to the one we did yesterday, talking about the potential pivot in Hollywood, that some of the nonsense that's been going on with cancel culture and virtue signaling and wokeness and all of that is starting to get walked back. It would appear that both Letitia Wright and Tim Allen, people that Twitter have tried to cancel for quite some time, both of them are still working with Disney.
Now you need to bring back Gina Carano.
Yeah, now that might be a little more complicated, but it's really interesting. So this shows that Disney is not just across the board canceling people for being wrong thinkers if they're bankable celebrities.
But not just that. Here's the thing, and we saw this, they tried this with Chris Pratt too. You know, a lot of these people on Twitter get their, panties in a twist. And they try to cancel somebody, and then people that actually know the people and know, who they are like, well, they're not actually like that. You're misconstruing this, or things are easily, miscommunicated or whatever. And then Twitter yells for them to be, canceled too. And then if they're not a white person, they yell racist slurs at them. But it doesn't always mean it's the truth. Like, just because Twitter wants somebody canceled doesn't mean that the studios want someone canceled, because they work with them directly and they might know them obviously better than the people on Twitter who are ass mad do.
And in a lot of cases, it just comes down to numbers. I mean, Chris Pratt drives a lot of people to the box office. I mean, you don't have to agree with his opinions, but, to cancel him just because he goes to church.
Yeah, sometimes they don't post opinions. They just, you're mad just because he exists.
He exists. They're mad because he exists. He's an A-lister now. I'm sorry, Chris Pratt makes a lot more money than Elliot Page does for the studio, so they're not going to cancel him until he, beats somebody or something. It's like it's a non-issue, and Twitter is losing, and we're gonna talk about this.
Damn time. And now Hollywood's mad at Twitter because they didn't kiss their ass for the Golden Globes.
Yeah, it's starting to all
shocker.
It's starting to all blow up.
Maybe they shouldn't listen to Twitter.
Maybe they shouldn't listen to Twitter.
Don't say.
So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Over 252,000 subs.
Yay!
Thank you so much for the support. We do talk about pop culture, talk about Disney. We've been talking a lot about the Twitter drama because Twitter is ground zero for all of these calls to cancel people. And Letitia Wright has been on the receiving end of that. They loved Shuri. They loved Shuri because she was a black girl who loved the science. They loved the character of Shuri, but it turns out that Twitter did not like Letitia Wright because she was problematic because she had some views about the vaccine that were not cool with Twitter.
Well, that's like, I was going to bring up Gina Carano again. They loved Cara Dune. They had articles dedicated to how, thank God we have a strong female character, and man babies are whining, he. And then she said she didn't put pronouns in her bio, and then put an accurate analogy that they didn't like. And then they screamed for her to be fired. Yep.
Well, it was the same with Letitia Wright. They were all like, yeah, make sure that the new Black Panther, after Chadwick Boseman died, they're like, make her the new Black Panther. And then as soon as they found out her opinions, that she's actually, like Chris Pratt, an outspoken Christian.
I'm just going to tell you what it is, straight up. It doesn't matter what color you are, what race you are, what sexual orientation you are, who you sleep with, what religion you believe in, any of that shit. The stuff they try to, say that we need diversity for. At the end of the day, what it all comes down to is, how do they think you voted? Because that's what it comes down to. Let's be honest, because I see people that are minorities that they normally be raising them up like, we have to, no matter what they say or do, they should be, given special treatment because they're them. And then they didn't, then when they fall, it's usually about something about how they voted or something that doesn't go against it goes against the Twitter narrative and agenda.
Yeah.
And it usually comes down to, at the end of the day, what they're trying to control, what the agenda is, and what political side you're on. And that's basically what it is.
Yeah. And, we have a few celebrities. It's we had Emilio Estevez, too. Basically getting gone from the Mighty Ducks, which nobody needed. We didn't need that show. Did we need that show?
No, we didn't.
Now, I heard two sides of the story. One was he would not get vaccinated, and that's why they parted ways. He said it was a contract dispute. I think it's both are true. I think it was a contract dispute.
I have no idea.
Because he wouldn't.
But even if there's a hint that you're against something that Twitter is shilling for, people on Twitter are pushing for, they're going to come after you.
Now, that being said, I've seen some of what Letitia Wright believes, and some of the stuff is, I would say, definitely conspiracy theory level stuff. That being said, if she's not hurting anybody and she's, not, it's like
she's not even on Twitter now.
She's not even on Twitter. She quit Twitter because she got all kinds of backlash.
And they still wouldn't leave it alone.
And they wouldn't leave it alone. So not only was Twitter dogpiling her, but we had, the media outlets that basically live in Twitter. So we have so many of these media outlets like BuzzFeed and, the other ones that are failing. Inverse is definitely one of them. They basically use Twitter to boost their signals, and it's just journos and Twitter crazies just feeding off each other. And they were putting articles out there like, why it's totally fine to fire Letitia Wright as long as we have Shuri.
She's not fired.
She's not fired.
They did halt production because she was hurt in a stunt in August. Now, originally they said it was minor injuries, but as it turned out, it was more severe. She had like a bad shoulder break, and then she had a concussion that caused severe side effects, both of which are things that you do not want to mess with. But they have since restarted production, and she is still in the movie. She's still Shuri, and they've started again.
Now, Disney could have said, oh, she got hurt, and we had a discussion, and we had to move forward with filming, and we had to recast Shuri.
We just paid her out her contract and moved on. They didn't.
Yeah, we brought another Shuri in from the multiverse.
Yeah,
or
there
something.
you go.
I'm waiting for them to do that with Black Panther. But anyway, so she's still working for Disney. Tim Allen, this one's kind of surprising because there was a lot of chatter.
I don't know if it is surprising because he was doing stuff for Disney, just a couple months ago and stuff too.
Yeah, but there were a lot of calls for him.
There was a lot of calls for him, but I think Disney's been working with him. They haven't gotten rid of him. I know that the people brought that up too before, and I've mentioned it. There was things he was doing for Disney when everybody was like yelling to have him fired, and they didn't get rid of him then.
Well, he's been working with Disney since ABC, like back in the day, and Home Improvement. He's always been bankable. Now people were concerned, myself included. I was like, wait. He's not doing the voice of Buzz Lightyear. They recast, but then again, we're talking the Buzz Lightyear in the Lightyear movie is supposed to be the real guy that the cartoon is based on, that the franchise is based on.
Right, it's not the toy.
Not the toy. So, and Tim Allen is getting up there. It's going to be kind of hard for him to voice a guy that's supposed to be like in his 30s or whatever. I mean, I get that. But again, in this climate, the way things have been, and the fact that he's been very outspoken about his political beliefs, people didn't see him come up in association with the Buzz Lightyear movie, so they're like, oh shit, they canceled Tim Allen.
Yeah, well, he's not, because they just greenlit a new Santa Claus series, limited series. Now, I'll tell you why they're doing this though. They're doing it because they want to keep the IP going. Yeah. And Tim Allen's up there and they need to replace him. So the whole premise of the movie, if you actually read it, is in the series, Scott Calvin is on the brink of his 65th birthday and realizing that he can't be Santa forever, he's starting to lose a step in his Santa duties, and I'm trying to read this sideways. And more importantly, he's got a family who could benefit from a life in the normal world, especially his 2 kids who have grown up at the pole. With a lot of elves.
Sounds like an MTV show. Growing up at the pole.
With a lot of elves, children, and family to please, Scott sets out to find a suitable replacement Santa while preparing his family for a new adventure in a life south of the pole. That sounds like a different kind of movie too. Anyway, they're going to replace him because they want to make more Santa Claus stuff, and it's more about age, I think, than anything, but they need to pass the torch. So they have to bring him back to set that up.
They need to bring Bernard back, to bring him back. He could be Santa. But yeah, and we know exactly probably what's going to happen if we're going to replace a male lead.
Oh, it'll probably be female Santa now.
Probably, but at least
girls can be Santa too.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Or it'll
Sarah Silverman finally gets to be Santa.
Or they'll go with ethnically diverse Santa Claus.
Yeah,
because there's a big push for that too lately.
Hey, look, as long as the show is good, I don't give a shit. And I don't expect much from a Santa Claus show. The movie series is not exactly. No. We're not exactly.
First movie was good, and then it went downhill from there.
Yeah. Third one was just, what the hell did I watch? Yeah. Although I would like to see Martin Short. I'd like to see him come back.
He should come back as Jack Frost.
Yeah, he's still doing something. He's doing some murder mystery.
Oh no, it was it's a Hulu show, and it won awards. I think.
Yeah. So he's still working with Disney too. So
and they have I think Selena Gomez is in that show too.
So we got another
Disney tie-in.
And
Hulu's owned by Disney, so.
Yeah, so this is really interesting, and it seems like it's not that big of a deal, but it really is that big of a deal because Disney, more than other studios, has been blasted for blacklisting people who were wrong thinkers. Now, I think there's a difference because, what people don't realize with Disney is it is a many-headed beast. It's a big company. There are actually a lot of conservatives that work for Disney. Most of them, though, are at the theme parks in Florida. But that being said, I think the Gina Carano situation was a Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy decision and not a Disney proper decision, because obviously just being a Republican or just, not liking the vaccine, those aren't reasons to get fired.
Well, it is in this current day, and Twitter will make sure of it. I mean, they tried to go after Rosario Dawson, too, because the accusations against her, which were dropped. Yeah. But even then, I remember this one twit, like the typical Twitter twit you can think of, I'm underage, that kind. She was going after, every time Disney Plus would put up anything Marvel and unrelated to Star Wars, here she comes. Fire Gina Carano, fire Rosario Dawson. And people asked her, why are we firing Rosario Dawson? Because she was accused of this stuff. And that was after it was already brought up that the charges were dropped. And people said that to her. I said that to her. And then she was like, you're just a blankety blank blank hater. But they keep going and trying to get people canceled even after they've been proven innocent. It's stupid.
Yeah, all this cancel culture, ground zero is Twitter. It's the journalists that hang out in the Twitter cesspool and look at the Golden Globes. That tells you exactly, whether or not Twitter is worth it. Now, Disney, I think, kind of knew on some level, because I do remember going to a media event with them, and people asked them specifically. They said, hey, we do Facebook promotion, we do YouTube promotion, we do a lot of Instagram. This is like 4 or 5 years ago. And somebody asked, well, what about Twitter? We don't really look at Twitter. We don't, at least in the theme parks, they didn't care about Twitter. They have since. Hopefully they've learned their lesson, because it's not worth it. And they just need to understand that, And the thing is, people on Twitter, too, that gets me, is they go after people like, well, Disney, because of their diversity and inclusion initiative, and Disney, because they give money to Democrats. Disney gives money to Republican people, too. That a lot of these companies do. If you look into these companies, not all of them, but a lot of them give to both sides, because it's a hell of a lot easier to leverage power and control when you own both sides, isn't it? Oh, yeah. And Disney wants Florida open, because that's where a lot of their money comes
They're
from.
moving a bunch of people from California to Florida because Florida didn't shut down. Yep. I mean, come on. Yep. But then that's what they say out of one side of their face. And the other side of the face, re-elect Gavin Newsom. It's like they play both sides. They all do.
Yeah.
I mean, the sooner you understand that, the sooner you can stop tweeting and save a tree.
Yeah, right. All right, so we got to wrap this one up.
Yep.
All right, so please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Go out to piratesandprincesses.net if you want more objective Disney fan news, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye.